Right, so as promised, this is the macro video. We've got a bunch of stuff here. Some of it is random and not really of note. What I will do is I'll make a paste bin of all the important ones and just have like a brief description of it and then the macro, so you can just copy and paste them straight away if you want to use them. This is going to include the scripts and stuff that I use as well, so yeah, it's just going to be everything, and I'll just talk a little bit about each one. This is all random crap. Okay, so this is my barrier one. It's literally, it will barrier on the cursor. This removes the need for the ring, and just gonna be, you know, quicker to get a barrier up by like 0.2 of a second or something, but it matters, right? Every little min-max is helpful, so that's what this does. Also, if you press shift with your barrier bind, assuming you don't have it bound to something else, then it will barrier on top of you, which is also gonna save you some mouse placement or whatever. So yeah, generally cool. Then we have this is basically when I mount up, I will press this, and it will fort myself and whoever's in my group when I mount up, so I don't forget to buff. It's pretty useful. I used to have one within a fire and a will as well, actually. But yeah, worth doing. I guess you don't lose anything from it since you're mounting up anyway, right? Then we have the Shadow Mend bind. This is the help harm one I was talking about earlier in the other video, the UI video. What it basically does is when I target an enemy, it smites. When I don't target anyone, or I target myself, or I target someone else, or I even target the enemy and press shift, it will Shadow Mend. So basically 2 spells, 1 bind. And we've got the same on, I had one on Radiance with Schism, didn't like it, so I took that one off. The reason for that is if you're going for a Schism on a Rogue or a Hunter and they vanish, you will target nothing, and then you could accidentally Radiance, and you don't want that to happen, so I actually took those and separated them. And then we have Purge the Wicked, which is Purge the Wicked on enemies, and it works the same as the Shadow Men one. Purge the Wicked on enemies, shield on players. Easy. And that feels really kind of intuitive when you're trying to like dot everyone and shield everyone for atonement, and yeah, it feels good. It feels natural. So first time in like 10 years I've changed my shield bind, but I'm liking it so far. Master spell again, same as the barrier macro, where if you master spell on cursor there will be no ring, and if you use shift it will do it on yourself regardless of where the cursor is. This is just a macro to use Major War if we've got it. There's nothing special there. Then we had some dot macros, dot arena 1 to 3. Not using those at the moment, need to find some binds for those. We have a stopwatch macro here. Okay, this will move the target of target frame to the right. I don't know if it's relevant anymore because I think Blizzard moved the debuff slots towards the left slightly. But regardless, this will move this from here to here. I run it every time. I'm not even sure if it's... you know what, let's relog and see. Because I'm not even sure if it's fixed in Legion. If it's fixed in Legion, then the macro is relatively irrelevant. Let's have a quick look. Right, so... if we put someone that's targeting something with a load of buffs, can we buff this kid? Oh yeah, I need to put this 4 back on my bars. Right, so Blizzard have changed it, right? There used to be a debuff here, or a buff, I guess, depending on who you're targeting. And what the macro does is it just shifts it over. This is useful if you're not playing, I guess, Legion or anything after. I think pretty much anything before that, they had one there, so they hadn't moved it. So that's what that did. Haven't played that much in Legion, so a bit outdated. The macro also does something else interesting. I added another line into it, and what this does is occasionally when you're playing WoW, and you may have experienced this the entire time you've played WoW, you're doing stuff and your camera may... No! Okay, thank God for that. Yeah, so what this does is if your camera is ever randomly... As I fucking destroy it again. if your camera's ever randomly just like spazzed out while you're doing stuff, like, or you'll be like looking a bit and looking a bit, and then it'll be like, whoosh, you know, like it'll spaz out a lot, but you hardly notice it, and you'll just be like, oh whoa, like, and you'll kind of be used to it, but it'll always be there. If you've got it, this will stop that happening. I had this issue for so long and dealt with it for so long, and I was like, what the fuck is this? And artist took me up with this script, and it stops it happening. So if you need that, it's good shit. What else we got? Target player, self-explanatory. The reason I do it through here is if you target, if you bind it through interface, and you have fiend out and you press it twice, it will target the fucking fiend. And same for target party members. If they have a pet and you do it twice, it will target the pet. You don't want that. You want to just bind it straight through the macros. And I also feel like it's more responsive in the macros. So that's why we do that. Then we've got a feather macro. Literally just puts it on the cursor. Same as the MD one, same as the barrier one. Press S, puts the feather on the cursor. No disk, nothing. Shift S, puts it on ourselves. Awesome. Then we've got a help harm dispel macro here. So basically, if we're targeting an enemy, it will use dispel magic, purge. If we're targeting ourselves, it will purify. If we're targeting an enemy and shift, it will do a self again. So same as all the other help harms. And we also got a focus built in. So if we Alt F, it will purge focus. I don't really use the bind much, but you might like it, or you might like to change the modifier to control or something like that. So yeah, it's got that built in. That's my Arena 1 Shadow of Pain. Cancel or Atonement, don't need anymore. That was for when Mend used to break traps, so you didn't have to death yourself over and over. You would just do it once and then take Atonement off, and every Mend would take you down a bit. And if you mended at full HP, it wouldn't put the dot on, so that's why you'd cancel the Atonement. Otherwise you would keep topping yourself and having to lower yourself with death every time. This is Dispel 1 and 2 macro for Party 1 and 2. This is some random add-on. Target Arena 1 to 3, standard. What's this one? This is a random stopwatch that I'm not using anymore. I believe... You know what? I can't remember what it does. This one fixes the groups. So if you're using Blizzard raid frames and you don't like having yourself randomly placed in the group, and it's annoying to target Party 1 and 2, you get a bit of brain lag. You're like, oh, okay, Party 1 is... And then I'm in the middle, and then it's Party 3. I'm going to use a different bind. It feels bad. So what this does is it puts you at the bottom of the group always. And what you do, you run the script, and then you press interface, and you close it, and then it will work, and you'll be at the bottom, and everything will be good. If it doesn't work, you go here. Wait, where is it? Raid profiles. And you make sure that keep group together is off, and you make sure that this is group. Okay? You make sure it's on group. If it's not on group, it won't work. And that's the biggest reason why it doesn't work for a lot of people. So yeah, make sure that's done. Then we got the Linda macro, kindly given to me by a guy called Linda in chat. What this will do is it will change the names of your enemies in game, the name that appears above their head, this shit. It will replace it with a 1, a 2, or a 3, depending on if they're Arena 1, 2, or 3. So if you're in the thick of it and you see a guy and you want to target him and you don't want to click him, you can see there's a 2 over his head, and you just press your F2 or whatever your Arena 2 bind is. It removes some ambiguity and having to remember who's who, and you can just see, alright, it's 2, done. So that's very useful. I like that macro a lot, or script, I guess. Then we've got this relic of a macro that I used to use to micro fiend. I don't want to talk about it because it took away the fiend action bar. No idea why. It's devastating. I cry every night about it. Target Party 1 and Target Party 2. We talked about these a little earlier. Target macro for pets. Not been using that one much lately, but still useful if you're playing with pet class. And then a stop casting, which I mostly use for mind control. Bear in mind that it feels slower to use a stop casting to fake with. It's faster just to move. jump. Bear in mind you can't do this if you're rooted, so you do need the stop cast then. Yeah, that's all my macros right now. I will, as I said, put them in the description. And I will also put a link to my UI video, which is about binds and add-ons and everything similar to that. So if you want to check that out, that's in a separate video, so that we keep it nice and concise. Anyway, cheers for watching. Sorry if I rambled a little bit. Hopefully it was useful for you guys. And yeah, see you later.